Hey, it's Doug with Backcountry Pilgrim. Lately, I've been very interested in the idea of stoveless cooking. The idea being that you can save yourself a lot of weight, volume, and hassle if you don't have to heat up water or heat up food in order to prepare it. So after doing some online research and consulting some of my backpacking buddies, I have collected a number of options and tried them out. My choices ranged from completely pre-made foods that you literally just have to unpackage and eat, to others that required some form of cold soaking. That's something I will go over in a minute, and even some do-it-yourself food prep that you begin at home and complete once you're out in the backcountry. As a bonus, I even tried cookless coffee. So I'm going to go over my experience with these foods and then sum up what I thought about them at the end. I am trying out something that is pretty new to me, and that is going completely stoveless for all of my meals on trail. I'm actually going to be trying two different stoveless meal preparations on this trip. The first is going to be the classic cold soak. A cold soak is basically where you rehydrate a meal without boiling water first. Because you're not heating up the water and you're just using cold water, they call it cold soaking. All right, I decided I needed to move into the tent because the bugs are getting a little crazy out there. So let's talk about why somebody would want to try cold soaking. Cold soaking is definitely not going to give you the most delicious meals on the trail. There's nothing like a hot meal or a hot drink when you're in camp, so if you're going to be committed to a stoveless backpacking trip, you're going to have to do without those. So what are the benefits of cold soaking? Well, one of the first things that probably comes to mind to most backpackers is weight savings. Even if all you do on the trail is boil water for a dehydrated meal, you still have to bring a pot, a stove, fuel, and some way to light it. By the time you put all of this together and probably put it in some kind of stuff sack, you've got some pretty decent amount of weight that you're going to have to carry, and all of it is just to make your water hot. Further, when it comes to stove cooking, you also have concerns like whether or not you have enough fuel to make it through your trip. It would be nice if this wasn't such a tricky calculation to make, but it is, and you don't want to be having to stress about that while you're on the trail, so simply going without cooking can help you. Further, cold soaking can be very efficient. Since all you really have to do is rehydrate your food, if you use something like a peanut butter jar or one of those gelato jars, you can actually carry it in your pack, sealed up so it doesn't leak, and then use that to prepare your food while you are hiking. This helps with lowering the amount of time you have to take to prepare your food. It can make you more efficient on trail, and because you are not having to set up and then break down a stove system every time you want to make a meal, you can spend more time on the trail or more time sleeping and less time with your food prep. Another reason might be that if you're going to be going through areas where there is a high fire danger, you may not think it is worth it to have to light up a stove just to get some water boiling. Now, speaking of water boiling, besides the food not necessarily being as satisfying when you eat it, one other reason against cold soaking is that if you boil your water to purify it, you're not going to be able to do that if you don't bring your stove and all the things you need to boil water. Now, most backpackers these days are not relying on boiling in order to purify their water, so that may not be that big of a deal. There are other, easier ways to purify your water than boiling, but it might be a consideration for those who like to do it that way. So I've got this empty peanut butter jar that I found, and I'm gonna be cold soaking this ramen meal to see how it turns out. Now, I'm not doing anything fancy with this. I'm gonna see how it turns out just straight out of the package. There are lots of recipes online that add quite a bit to this experience, but my first time out, I thought I would just give it a try right out of the bag. Now, just in case the ramen isn't enough for tonight, I also brought a package of Chicken of the Sea Wild Alaskan Pink Salmon. So this is just a pouch of salmon that does not require any cooking. So that covers dinner. For breakfast, I'm going to be using this new product that I just heard of recently called Delicioats. This is a cold soak oatmeal pre-packaged meal. There's several different flavors, but the main claim to fame on these is that you only have about 42 seconds of meal preparation time. Now, if 42 seconds sounds suspiciously precise, it is. It doesn't even actually take quite that long. but 42 is a pretty cool number to put on a package. If you know, you know. The actual directions on the Delicioats say to open the pouch and add 8 ounces of unheated water, reseal the zipper top and shake, or stir to mix, and then reseal. Wait 3 or more hours for the liquid to be absorbed, then stir and do your day. Now, Delicioats was kind enough to send me their variety pack plus this cool spoon that just works perfectly for this meal. So this is gonna be breakfast. Now look, I love having a mug of hot cocoa at night to warm up before bed, and I love having a hot cup of coffee in the morning to wake up. Well, with no stove, I am not going to be able to have a hot cup of coffee, but I am gonna be able to get my caffeine on with this right here. This is the Maxwell housed caramel iced coffee with foam. This is a single drink mix that goes into cold water and makes kind of a cold coffee brew. I've had this once before. It wasn't as bad as it sounds, but we'll take another try on this trip and see what happens. Okay, so I'm gonna put all my ingredients together and get started on my meals because I'm gonna be hungry pretty soon and I want my food ready. Cold soaking the ramen should take about 30 minutes, so I'm gonna go get some water and start cooking. Should have gotten a jar with a wider mouth. $5:25, so at 6 o'clock this should be ready. Now for the Delicioats. So this is what this looks like in here. I like that this is nice and stable. It's not going to fall over very easy. It's good. All right. I don't know what 8 ounces is, but I'm just going to fill this until it floats a little bit. Instead of shaking, I'm going to stir it up so you can see it. All right, so there we go. Okay. Feels pretty good. Okay, so let this soak until tomorrow morning. We'll come back to this in about 20 minutes. All right, well, it has been a half hour, so let's take a look at this. Definitely gotten quite a bit more full in the jar. I'm going to put in the flavor packet and stir, if I can pick it up. Now obviously cold soaking is not meant to provide you with a meal like you would have at home. The idea here is to be simple and lightweight and fairly foolproof, but still have something pretty decent to eat. Now again, I'm not adding anything to this. I am just going to eat it right out of the package and see what I think, but I also have that salmon that I can add if I think I need it. Now, if you feel like you have too much water in here or you want the meal to be a little less soupy, Leave No Trace principles say that you should just drink it. Just drink it like a broth. I know Backcountry Foodie says that it's like having the first course of a meal. So I'm going to go ahead and drink a bit of this and see what I see. It's fine. I mean, it's not hot, but it tastes just like ramen tastes. This is pretty cool. You know, many times in the mountains, even a hot meal cools down so fast that only the first few bites really have that nice warm taste. Now, there's things you can do like cozies and things to extend it, but the fact of the matter is you're not really getting a super hot warm meal on trail most of the time anyway. It has a lot of fuel and effort and weight, to get something that's just warm a little longer. Now this jar is going to require cleaning, whereas a pot that has nothing but boiling water in it isn't. So you're not getting rid of all the hassle of cooking. One thing that would help is to get a jar that you can get your hand inside easily. This one is kind of tapered at the top, and it's got pretty uncomfortably sharp edges. So this is not the best jar for this. I didn't get it to do the cold soak. We just happened to have it, so I grabbed it knowing that I was going to be doing this video one day. The gelato canister that a lot of people use seemed to be a lot better for this. All right, well, although this is quite flavorful, I don't think it's going to be enough to get me through the night, so I'm going to go ahead and dump the salmon in here and finish my dinner. All right, well, it is morning. My Delicioats have been soaking all night, so it's time to open them up and see what they taste like. I think they hydrated pretty well. I could probably use a bit more water, so I may get some, but let's just do a taste test. This is the red raspberry. Very flavorful. Obviously pretty cold, but doesn't last that long in your mouth. Yeah, these are very good. They are also quite dense. I think I'm going to get a little bit more water in here, swish them up a bit, and finish them off. But so far, so good. This is real yummy. And while I'm finishing off these Delicioats, I am also going to get me some caramel iced coffee with foam. Pro tip, don't start eating your Delicioats before you use your spoon to stir your coffee. Wow, that's actually not too bad. Put enough sugar in anything and it'll be pretty good. A meal replacement shake is not something I've tried before, even just in my normal life. So when I got the vanilla chai RecPak meal replacement shake, I decided I would give it its first shot in my office. You get a 700-calorie complete meal in a drinkable form. One of the things I really loved about the shake is that it is the easiest of all of these meals to prepare. Not only is there just a single step of adding water, but you don't even need to measure it, because as soon as the water is up to the top of the bag, you know it's got the right amount in it. Not only did the shake taste good, but I was really impressed with its performance on the trail. Because you are drinking your meal, you can actually consume this shake while you are hiking. There's no need to use a spoon or any other implement. Further, because of the shake's shelf life, you could prepare it in the morning and not even drink it until dinner. So if for some reason you don't feel like finishing the whole shake in one shot, you can just hang on to it and finish it later. The other thing I liked about the idea of the RecPak shake is that you're getting hydrated and fed at the same time. You're getting 16 ounces of water. Also, because what is going into your stomach is already a liquid, digestion while you're moving around isn't a problem. So overall, I was very happy with this shake. I like the taste a lot. I like the preparation a lot. And while I don't think it would be a good idea to use the RecPak multiple times in a single day on a long trip, it's definitely good as maybe a replacement for lunch or in addition to a meal that didn't quite fill me up. For quite some time now, one of my favorite stoveless meals has been a granola cereal with fruit that I had for breakfast and even sometimes for dinner. It is something I've taken with me on nearly every backpacking trip I've been on. It is the granola from Peak Refuel. From my experience, I would say that Peak Refuel is making some of the very best meals on the trail. However, most of them, like most companies, do require cooking. When I queried some of my backpacking buddies on good stoveless meal preparation, the company Alpenfuel came up. While most of the meals they make are basically a granola and fruit type cereal, they also have some trail cookies. My wife and I tried these on a recent vacation, and we both liked them. When it came to the actual meals, the preparation was, like many of the other ones, quite simple. You just pour in some water, shake it up, wait a few minutes, and you're ready to go. I've tried a couple of their different cereals now, as I ordered a variety pack to check them out, and they were quite tasty, easy to use, and I also appreciated the fact that they come in single-serve packages. When I'm eating on trail, I tend to not eat a lot at a single time, and the propensity that a lot of brands have of giving you 2 servings in a single bag gets frustrating because it means that I either have to make the whole thing and eat it or waste it, or repackage it into single servings myself. Knowing that I can easily finish off an Alpenfuel cereal and that it tastes good enough to get through in a single go is a big advantage for me. These Alpenfuel meals are packaged with about 30% less bulk than others, and they only give you 12% of your daily sodium intake, which allows you to eat these meals day after day instead of salting out in a single serving. In between meals, I decided I wanted to have something that was a little bit more healthy for a snack, and in my research I discovered Kate's Real Food. Kind of like the Alpenfuel, one of the things I like about Kate's Real Food is that she makes these mini granola bars that are basically like a half serving. These are great when you just want a quick snack, but you don't want to overload your stomach while you're on trail. There are a variety of flavors, they are very tasty, and you can fit a bunch of them in your pocket. I got a large pack of these and I've been very happy with them. The last in my lineup of stoveless meals is also one of the most impressive. Erin Owens Matthew is a registered dietitian and ultralight long-distance backpacker with over 20 years of experience, and she is the founder and owner of Backcountry Foodie, an online ultralight recipe and meal planning platform for backpackers. Erin came up with this idea during her thru hike of the Pacific Crest Trail in 2017, and she has perfected her art in subsequent section and thru hikes. Now, Backcountry Foodie's popularity has grown to the point that Erin has had to get out of the meal prep business, but this is in order to focus on her specialty, which is making ultralight recipes and meal planning. If you go to backcountryfoodie.com, she has a number of free recipes, including some of her most popular, but if you really want the full experience of what Erin can offer you, you can actually become a paid member of the site and get quite a number of benefits. See links in the description below for that. In order to review Backcountry Foodie's recipes, I chose their most popular, which is the garlic parmesan ramen. I was surprised to find that we actually had everything in the recipe, and even though I am not a very good backcountry cook, the meal prep was fairly simple. Essentially, you just repack the ramen noodles, fill a bag full of spices and Parmesan cheese, add some olive oil, and you can have a cold-soaked meal in about 30 minutes. I found the recipe to be quite flavorful, and even though I am not typically a ramen eater, I actually finished the whole thing for dinner that night, even though I really was just doing a taste test. If you are interested in some do-it-yourself cold-soaked meals, I would definitely look into Backcountry Foodie's membership, and again, you can start off with some free recipes to see if you think it'd be worth it. In all honesty, there really was not a single one of these stoveless backcountry meals that I did not like. And although I wasn't really pitting them against one another, it is of course possible to rank them according to different features. If cost is your main concern, of course we can look at how much things are going to cost per meal. However, when it comes to budget, we also can look at value. How many calories are you getting? What are they costing? We could also look at time and efficiency. If you're actually looking at how much time you're going to spend in preparation, it is going to be different than the total prep time, which will include the cooking. Now, it's important to note that with the Delicioats, the 181 minutes of prep time is there because they are meant to be soaked overnight. We could also rank these by how heavy they are going to be to carry in a pack. However, we also want to look at how that is going to stack up with how many calories we're getting per ounce. Of course, one could also look at the amount of protein, the amount of sugar, the amount of fat, total carbs, and the amount of sodium in each meal. The rest is going to be up to personal taste. All right, I hope this video on stoveless cooking has been helpful to you. If it has, why don't you give the video a like and subscribe to Backcountry Pilgrim if you are a fan of hiking, camping, backpacking, and the gear that goes with it. Until next time, I'm Doug. Thanks for watching.